Like they tell you here, there's some things in gram-positive versus gram-negative bacteria versus this is usually all gram-negative. This is where they ask questions on, right? So show of hands, how, when you see something like this, and you see this beautiful flow chart, do you guys love it? Do you guys know it by heart? Do you guys, can you answer questions if they ask you questions on this? I actually love to hear your feedback through the text, because this is something where I always emphasize that is important to understand. Whether you draw it out a couple of times, whether you want to memorize, it's up to you, but they will give you a question and they'll talk about catalase positive versus negative. So if you know the catalase positives, well, all the staph organisms have cats, right? Catalase. Versus if they say cat negative, well, you know it's not going to be staph at all. So this is where I would invest some time to understand and appreciate how to differentiate staph versus strep, alpha, beta, gamma, hemolytic. A quick study hack that I've utilized over and over again is when you get to hemolysis, there's only three, A, B, and C, right? Alpha, beta, gamma. So what I like to do is I like to go in the middle. I see B for beta, B for bacitracin, B for group B. So B, B, B. And then by default, if I see the word group, I also trigger the other group. So group A, group B. So automatically, I know what's in the B section, right? B, 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 B. By default, C is always going to be Enterococcus faecium or facialis. And then the A is these guys, viridans versus strep pneumo. I don't know about you though, but I used to always mix this up a lot as a med student. So I had to memorize it because like I don't want to make these, I don't want to get points off on this. This is stuff that you should get right. The questions you're going to get wrong on are the ones that are experimental or the challenging concepts like physio, pathophys, and so on. But this should be easy points for you guys because it's just really, it's black or white, honestly, right? So with more practice and more questions, you and I will be able to solidify this information, okay? A show of hands, do you guys use first aid every day? And if you do you love using the mnemonics? I hope you do. Mnemonics are going to be your friends. When you get down to many, many different organisms, I can promise you the mnemonics like this is huge, right? You can read this and understand this, but when it comes down to slamming so much information from immuno, micro, biochem, and all the organ systems, what happens when you have to recall it in less than 63 seconds? It's not easy. So these mnemonics are like when you look at the desktop, there's little folders. You click on the folder, opens up to a large file, right? So little folder is this. And then when you see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like, oh, I remember that means ATP ribosylation, beta prophage, and so on. So get comfortable learning the mnemonics. Many of you know them, some of you don't. Make your life easy, right? Please don't attempt to study this test like you did med school. I can promise you it's not going to help as much as you think it will because it's very, very challenging, right? Samuel says always have to review that particular chart. Of course, Sam, Dr. Greenwich, it's important. You have to always review it. But let me ask you this before we start. You say to yourself, this is what I would suggest. It's not easy to absorb everything, right? Many of you said, let's start doing questions. Yeah, but you have to understand, I can slam 30, 40, 50 questions. Is it going to be beneficial? Not really. Because for every question that I do, there's a topic that you're going to find difficulty, right? So I'm here to show you techniques to improve your study habits so you can actually overcome this exam and move on. To go over this many, many times, eventually will be a waste of your time. You have to say to yourself, why can I not just get it after a few views? So what I would say is try not to read the whole thing. Try to break it down into a couple little pathways. Say, okay, today I'm going to go over the cat positive ones. I'm going to draw it out and just learn all the cat positive. Make it simple. The staph, the saprophyticus, and epidermidis all have cats in their families. That's it. They're just all cat positive. But the only one that actually is superior, that not only has a cat, but also is coagulative positive, is Staph aureus, which means there's only 3 staphs, right? They all have cats, but there's only one that's actually coag positive. The other 2, the cousins here, these guys are coagulus negative. But the difference is now when you see novobiasin, it allows you to say, well, if I see novobiasin in the question stem or in the answer choice, I can actually appreciate and say, that has to be epidermis for saprophyticus. So it's a quick triggers, a little trigger words, a little keywords that'll help you. You walk away, come back a little later, and you say, all right, well, I did the cat positives. Let me go to cat negatives now. And you just take it step by step, Samuel, and say, well, now I'm going to just go over the alpha hemolytics. Okay, good. Take a break, come back, then go over the beta hemolytics and go over the gamma hemolytics. And then before you know it, you put it all together and it's like layers and layers. Instead of doing the whole thing over again, break it down into key components. You see, I wish I would have done that. I never did. I drew it out old school. I drew it out and kept drawing it out. I didn't have iPads, so we used to have paper. We used to keep like killing trees nonstop. It was frustrating, but I finally memorized it. Okay, so take your time with it. I'm here to help you guys step by step to get it done. Right? Awesome. So let's do a couple of questions. I like them because there's some virus questions here. There's some bacteria questions. There's so many different scenarios that I want to make sure you guys have an understanding of all these different ways that they're going to ask you questions, right? There's also a couple of vitamin questions I have here. So I hope you guys are using Amboss. If you do, you're able to literally use the links that I send you. So if you just want me to autopilot you, for example, and just kind of lead you, all you got to do is have Amboss, and then you just go to the community, click the link that I send you, and you just do them every day, right? Just keep doing questions. And I promise you're going to feel a lot better about it and then get into your own little zone, right? Okay, awesome. So let me show you an example. Look at all this information.